Greetings, Finance2205, personal finance students in the online section in this fall 2012 semester, which is fast coming to a close. We only have a few weeks remaining, but we have some pretty big mountains to climb between now and then. So I thought it would be a good opportunity for us to touch base, go over some of those things, make sure that we're all on the same page. Okay, so let me kind of switch around here to to pause, and this is our class in pause, but I really wanted to go to an email, and I wanted to show it to you like this so it doesn't have everybody's addresses on it, but I wonder if you remember this email sent, really just maybe a week ago, and it was about our Chapter 11 grades. But towards the bottom of that email, I said, don't forget the SLO practice test closes November the 30th, and I said, keep these things on your radar, right? Well, today, as I record this video, it is Saturday, November the 24th, and so you know that this Chapter 18 quiz will be closing soon, so I hope you're working on that. Of course, you also know you have one more discussion board posting. I don't have that listed here, but make sure that you're aware of that. What I want to talk about now is these three big things. Let me, maybe I'll even talk about one other thing. Let me get rid of some of this stuff. I've mentioned to you your last opportunity for extra credit doing the SET evaluations. Make sure you complete it, not just for this course, but for all your courses to earn your bonus points. Okay, enough about that. Now let's focus on the three mountains left to climb. Okay, and perhaps I can rearrange these just a little bit to put them in the order so that we can focus even a little bit better, although there is, as you can see, some overlap here. Okay. The first thing I want to talk to you about is test number 2, which opens, as you can see, in just a few days. Now, if you've been doing the quizzes, which I know you have, then you have been preparing for this test. And this test is going to be, just like test number 1 that we took. So you're going to be kind of familiar with it by this point. Now, to view the instructions, which include the password for the exam, the best thing to do is to go into pause, click the content link. Look at all this work you've done. I like to collapse a bunch of these just to get them out of the way, and it's such a feeling of accomplishment as you realize that you've done everything. I'll leave Chapter 18 open because you still have to work on that. And down here at the bottom you can see it says test number 2 instructions, and what I'd like you to do is to click on that. Be patient as the screen loads. Okay, so really be patient, wait for these instructions to appear. Now, you can read them on the screen if you'd like, but you may remember that my suggestion to you is to use this floppy disk. See where my mouse is pointing? And save this to your desktop, someplace where you can reference it easily. Print it. This is another good idea. I have already saved this to my desktop, and so I'm going to pull it up here to make it larger so that we can read it together. Okay, this test covers everything since the last test, since test number 1, Chapter 7, 9 through 12, and 18. Now, of course, some of the basic policies, you know that you need to take this test independently. Don't cheat. There's a lot of technology in place. Not to mention, as you know, the questions are scrambled. The choices for each question are scrambled. It comes from a very large pool of questions. The point here, folks, is that you've had the quizzes to study and to prepare, and so now we want to assess what you know, and so that's the purpose of this test. You only have one attempt on this test, and of course we'll talk about how serious that one attempt is in a moment, but for that reason there is a password on the test so that you don't accidentally begin it before you're ready. The password is almost. See how it is spelled there? It must be entered in lowercase, and it must be entered exactly. Almost. Why? Because you are almost done, but you're not done yet. So you are almost done, right? Okay, so the password is almost. When can you take this test? It opens to you as early as Tuesday at 12:01 a.m., but you better be through by Monday, December the 3rd at 11:55 p.m. Right? So again, the strategy here is to take the test early and avoid being locked out or knocked out. I've said this before, but I'll mention it again here. My strategy, if I was you, would be to take the test Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. Maybe you need Saturday morning, but the closer you get to Monday in the lockout time, the greater the opportunity that some disaster is going to strike. If you have a computer problem on Saturday morning, you can go to a public library and take the test Saturday afternoon. If you have a computer problem Monday night when the test is due, it's catastrophic because you limit the options that are available to you. So the way you avoid that problem is you plan not to have the problem. I always like to say the problem didn't happen at 11:30 at night. The problem happened Saturday, Friday, Thursday when you just kept pushing it off. Okay, so don't do that. Don't do that. Take it early. Avoid being locked out or knocked out. Now, once you begin the test, a time limit kicks in. That time limit is 160 minutes, so it's kind of a generous amount of time. I think you'll be finished way in advance of that, but you do have a time limit, 160 minutes. Once that clock starts, you cannot stop the clock. Okay, so go get your soft drink, get your cup of coffee, get your snacks, go to the bathroom, get your textbook, print off whatever quizzes you want and organize them so that they're ready. Maybe you put some kind of tabs or, marker in your book, a little sticky note, so you can flip through things very quickly. In other words, you're well organized. You're coming into this test in the same way that you would if you had to go to campus and sit in a classroom. Now, you don't have to. You're allowed to take this online, but you want to be organized. You want to be ready as you take it. Now, once you begin, not only does the 160-minute time limit apply, but as soon as you see that first question, the system says that I mark this one attempt as being used. In other words, there's no retake, there's no second chances. Don't email me and say, I need you to open it up again, because you have one attempt. No matter what, you have one attempt. What if your computer crashes? Well, don't take the test on a computer that is unreliable. Taking the test at home is a convenience. It is, I know that. But you might have to go to the college campus and use one of the computers there. You need a reliable network connection. Don't get on that dial-up connection in the middle of a thunderstorm when you know that you could very easily be knocked out of the system because you're going to use up your one attempt. So don't do that. If for any reason you don't do well or you don't complete the test, that was the one attempt. Okay, we're going to talk about drop grades here in a minute. Remember that you do have one test drop grade. Out of your 3 tests, your lowest test will be dropped. How many points is this test worth? Just like test number 1, test number 2 is 150 points. All 3 of your tests, 150 points. It's 75 multiple choice questions. That means that each question is 2 points. So, if you don't know one, skip it. You can come back to it. That's not a problem, okay? Answer the ones that you know, do those quickly, right? Again, this is what the exam covers, so you know the chapters, chapter 7, 9 through 12, and also 18. You'll know your score immediately when you finish this test, because the question that you will probably have is, do I need to take the final exam? Or, what's the deal for the final exam? Well, the final exam, is of course during final exam week, and you do not have to come to campus. It is online. This is an online class. But I will drop your lowest grade. So let's just talk about the final exam, and you see this in the note down here at the bottom. Per the syllabus, students have one exam drop grade. The lowest exam will be dropped. If you fail to take the exam, then you earn a grade of 0 for the final exam, right? Hopefully, the grade of 0 would be your lowest grade, and thus it would be your drop grade, right? So let's say you go out to the final and you just don't take it. Let's say you don't go out to it at all. Then I'm going to record a 0. You have one drop grade. Now, let me pause here to say this. What some students hear me saying is that the final exam is optional. I did not say that. I said that it is required, and that if you do not take it, you will get a grade of 0. And if that is your lowest grade, then it will be dropped, right? Okay. So, let's say you're unsure if you should take the final exam. If you are unsure if you should take the final exam, then you need to take it, right? If you email your instructor, which is me, to ask if you should take the final exam, I'm going to tell you, yes, you need to take it. Here's why. You're responsible for your grades. I post all your grades in Pause. I keep them up to date. I email you every time I have posted those grades. And you have the syllabus. If you know your grades and you have the syllabus, you can look at those two things and you can figure out what your grade is. You are capable of doing that. As a college student, you are capable of doing that. So the method for calculating your grade is explained to you in the syllabus, including drop grades, minimum scores, and even an example. There's a section, how do I calculate my grade, right? So, as a college student, this is how I look at it. If you walk up to a cash register, you're in personal finance class, so we can use this as an example. If something cost you $17 and you hand the clerk a $20 bill, you know how much money you're supposed to get back. You don't just sit there with your hand hanging out and saying, just give me whatever you think is fair, right? You have an expectation. That's because you understand how things are calculated, right? Well, you have that same understanding here. You just have to choose to take the time to do it. If in any way you are not sure and you say, but you don't understand, I might be borderline. That's what I'm asking. Well, that's what I'm telling, because I'm telling you that you know if you're borderline because you have access to your grades. You have access to the syllabus. You know about minimum scores. You know about drop grades, right? And if there is any doubt in your mind, then you need to take that final exam and you need to do well. At this point, folks, you've invested a lot. Don't leave anything to chance. Do your best, right? Okay, so you're going to do that. That's test number 2. Now let me go back to Pause, because also in the content area of Pause, go way down here, way down here to the bottom. Those were the instructions for test number 2. We also have instructions for test number 3, and this is the final exam, as you see in the category there. Now again, I'm going to click on that, and that will be, of course, the final exam period here. Be patient as this loads. Okay, now again, just like test number 2, save this, print it, keep it available. I've already done that. Let me pull that up. Okay, so here we are, test number 3, comprehensive final. Well, what does comprehensive mean? It means we go back to chapter 1, all the way back to the start of the semester. And remember, our first test covered chapters 1 through 6. You're going to, be tested on that, as well as the content from test number 2, which is chapter 7, 9 through 12, as well as 18. Again, going to do this independently. The questions are randomized. They come from a very large pool. The choices are randomized. Don't do it. The stakes are too high. Don't cheat. Okay? So, what is the password? Because you have that one attempt. Remember I said you were almost done? So for test number 2, the password is almost. For test number 3, the password is done. There it is. When does this open? It opens in this first week in December here, December the 4th, Tuesday, December the 4th, again at 12:01 a.m. And it closes for lockout and knockout on Saturday, December the 7th. So you need to be done by Saturday, December the 7th. Schedule these exams. Exam 2, test 2, test 3, put them on your calendar. When are you going to take them? You're not going to take them Saturday late because you risk lockout, knockout. So plan in advance when you're going to take those. Again, once you begin the test, a time limit is going to apply. Again, 160 minutes, right? Now, also, once again, you have one attempt. You want to do well. Hopefully you did well on test number 1. You want to stay strong on test number 2. You want to really bring it all home with test number 3 so that you earn the highest grade possible. Very important. Once you begin, the 160 minute time limit begins, and your one attempt has been flagged as used. So you got to finish in a single sitting. It's 150 points, just like the other test, 75 questions, 2 points apiece, right? So you want to do that. You know what it covers. So at this point, you'll click submit, you'll take the test, click submit button, you'll know your grade immediately. And at this point, you're going to be interested in what's my grade? What's my grade? What's my grade for the course? Okay, so let's talk about that. Note here at the bottom. Don't email me and ask for your grade because I will not email it to you. There's a couple reasons for that. One is that I have had situations where students have printed emails that I've sent them and taken them to universities who have accepted that as, in essence, proof of a grade. And if you have an outstanding parking ticket or library fee or any kind of balance due with the college, they will hold your grades, and you need to settle all that before the grades are released. They need to be released by the college. So, not going to email you that final grade. There's another reason. Again, all your grades are available to you in pause. Folks, I work hard to do right by you in that way. I grade promptly. I put those grades out there for you. You have the syllabus that gives you detailed instructions for calculating your grade. You're aware of your minimum score requirements and your drop grades. You can figure out your grade. If you feel this is overwhelming to figure out your grade, I'm going to tell you the easy way to do it. If you've made mostly A's, you have an A. If you've made mostly B's, you have a B. If you've made mostly B's, but you've skipped a number of assignments, you probably have a very low C or a D. Okay? So you can kind of estimate. If you've been running it so close and you're trying to just barely make a grade, that's when you run into trouble. Okay, you've got to really just always put your best out there because if you miss an assignment, you forget. If you've been kind of running everything borderline, zero, folks, if you average 100 points with 0 points, that's a F. Right? So, that's where you get into trouble. But if you've been working hard, you've been, pretty consistent with, let's say, B's, you probably have a B. You can estimate that. Now, you say, but that's not good enough. I might be wrong. Okay, you're right. An estimate is only as good as an estimate is. So sit down with the syllabus, sit down with the grades that are all posted in pause, figure it out. You can do it. Okay. All those details are in your syllabus. You can figure that out. So the question, what is my final grade, will not be emailed or otherwise conveyed to you. Don't call, don't leave voicemail messages. What is my grade? You will know it when the college releases it to you, and I'll post it into the system, and you'll know. And it will not be a surprise because everything has been made available to you prior to that. Okay. So that's test number 2 and test number 3. But remember, we had one more test in here along the way, and that is this SLO exam. Now, do you remember the SLO exam? Well, let's go back to the syllabus. We were just talking about that old syllabus, and here's page 1, and let me scroll on down. And as we get down here, let me go a little further. Hardware requirements, software requirements, methods of evaluation. See, this is, so many things are explained here. Okay, here's the list of all the quizzes that you've taken. And look down here, it says complete the SLO online quiz that will be available in the My Southwest system, not pause, and that is required by the college. And if you look up here, it says one more note on your quizzes. You earn a drop grade if and only if you complete the SLO exam at the end of the semester. If you don't complete the quiz, then you don't get a drop grade. So maybe you forgot to take one of these quizzes, or maybe you just didn't do as well, you didn't meet the minimum score requirement, right? So you can see scores less than 80% will become a 0 in the final calculation of your grade, all explained here. So maybe you had one that was, like a 15 out of 20, and that doesn't meet the minimum requirement. Well, if you take the SLO exam, then you'll get that drop grade. So that will improve your overall grade. It's a good thing to do. Of course, you can go through here and read even more about this. See, I told you there were examples of how to calculate your grade. Look at this. How do I calculate my grade? So you've got all the information you need there, but you do need to take the SLO exam. So how do you find out about that? I'm going to go back into pause. I'm going to go to the content area. And one more time, I'm going to scroll down here towards the bottom. So we've talked about the final exam. We've talked about test 2. Now let's look at the SLO instructions, exam instructions. Okay, these are on screen. Again, you can print this. Some people like to just copy and paste it into a Word document, however you want to do it. But this is what you need to know. Um, Again, the SLO quiz is necessary to earn the drop grade. Now, here's some important information. When is it available? It is available starting Saturday, December the 1st, and it closes Thursday, December the 6th. Now, I did tell you that one time already in an email, but I'll include this in another email to you, okay? Let me go back. Where is this test? What is this test about? Tell me about this test. I want you to read this overview very carefully. It'll answer many of your questions. It's a 15 multiple choice question quiz. Now, it is not in pause. This is a college test for any Finance 2205 class, and it's standardized. You go to the My Southwest system, and this is where you're going to take it. Now, here are the detailed SLO exam instructions. Again, it's open notes, open book. You're expected to work alone. Once the test becomes available, which again, December the 1st is when it comes available, you'll go into My Southwest and you'll see this icon. See this SLO icon? Click on that. Scroll down the page. Read the page that you're going to see once you click on that. Read the page. You're going to see our class. You may very well have other SLO tests that you're going to take for other classes, business classes that you're in. Right now we only do this in the business department. Now, again folks, it's imperative that you use a reliable computer. This is a college test and your instructor does not have the ability to reset it or to give you any additional attempts whatsoever. So you have to be very careful. This is true for any SLO test that you take. If you ever get to the page where you see the questions, then your one attempt has started and cannot be regained. Okay, do not use your back button. Do not close your browser once you begin this test. If you do, your score will be recorded based on the answers you've already submitted, and it cannot be reset. It's only 15 questions, folks, the SLO. Complete it in a single setting. So, you sit down, you're ready to take the test, you're at the password page. You've gone to the bathroom, you've got your drink, you've got your snacks, you've got your notes, your book, you're organized, you're ready. You type in the password, which is simply 1234. 1234. Answer all 15 of the questions. When you get to the bottom of the page, folks, listen to me. Why don't y'all click the submit button? I've seen so many students, you just sit there and you let the clock run out, and that is not a reliable way. This is a test and it's important. When you are done, there's a submit button there. Hit it, click it, okay? That is how you turn it in. I don't care what it is, Dropbox quizzes, you're doing anything online. When you hit submit, that's when you're done. So sorry about that, but it makes me feel so bad for you when you get a 0 when you've done the work, but you never hit the submit button. I don't understand that. So you have to push the submit button. Now, you do not have to send me anything with your score. I'll have it the minute you finish it, but it will take me time. I'm going to wait until after the due date to post your grade into pause, but you'll know your score immediately. You do not need to send me anything or even upload anything. I have the score, okay? So hang in there. I know this has been a long video. It's been filled with a lot of important instructions. You can replay it so that you have all the necessary information. It's, we've got a lot of things going this week, but schedule it, pull out your calendar, plan time where you're going to do each one of these things. You've been preparing for this throughout the entire semester, and I really have a lot of confidence in you. You guys have been such a wonderful class, and I have truly enjoyed it. So folks, you guys have been a wonderful class. I've really enjoyed it. I've learned a lot this semester teaching this for the first time with you all, and I hope you have learned a lot. It's really interesting content, and I have really developed a passion for this course because you guys have been so great in your efforts. So good luck to you. Don't lose your energy. I know we're in that homing stretch. Stay strong. You can do it. Okay? Bye-bye.